Welcome back. Let's get back to that on issues around Rivers politics. We'll be joined in the program by Chief Anab Saraigbe. He's an elder statesman. He joins us via Zoom from Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Chief Saraigbe, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you and good morning.
Well, let's say this is March, April, May, so I can say less than 2 years to the second anniversary of Siminala Fubara, which is his midterm. He's got 2 impeachment process initiated against him because they have leveled gross misconduct against him and his deputy. You have been in the mix of all of this. What do you make of what is playing out right now in Rivers State?
Thank you very much. I think what is playing out in Rivers State is very much unnecessary. The government came in, you did not allow the government to settle. You want to have a control of the resources of Rivers State, and for that reason, you start tormenting problems. But we thank God the same has survived all those threats, and we are hoping on God that because of the nature of same, which is very peaceful, Rivers State will still know peace. The Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, if not good enough, is violent and is want to show power. But people have sat on that seat and they've left. And it's not the first and it will not be the last on that seat. But we pray that it will see reason because as a former governor of the state, we should understand that peace is absolutely necessary in the state. And what we are looking for in Rivers State is peace. If there is no peace in Rivers State, it will not only affect Rivers State, it will affect the entire nation. Because Rivers State is the capital of the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta is the economic hub of this country. So we pray, we are appealing to him to see that there is peace in Rivers State, not this threat of impeachment, not this. The governor is doing so well. Development is spread across the state. Despite this partner, he's still working, he's still developing the place, and it's always preaching peace. And so we pray that the Honorable Minister and his co-hosts, his co-travelers should understand that the state is more than any individual and interest. So we should all look at the interests of the state and see that there's peace in the state.
Well, there are those who disagree with Governor Fubara's approach. In fact, we had one of the prominent stakeholders in the South on the show yesterday who said that, well, he disagrees with the manner in which Governor Fubara at least handled the Supreme Court judgment. But as a governor, you are bound by law, so it's understandable. So for you, do you disagree with his approach as well? There are some who say he's too gentle. And when you accuse the FCT minister of being violent, what proof do you have to back that? Have there been cases he's used physical force, which you know, at least to back up that allegation of violence against the FCT minister? So 2 questions in one.
Well, everybody has his own opinion, but the fact remains that if peace is not peaceful, then there will be clashes and there will be crisis in the state deeper than what we have seen. But because he's a peaceful person in nature, he has been averted, he has been able to avert so much crisis, so much clashes, and we're having peace. I said years of weekend violence. Just over the weekend, he went to a very small community in Joe community and went with tanks, armored cars, gunboats, airplane, as if Mr. President himself has traveled to that village. You are a strong man, you are a big man. Why are you carrying tear gassing innocent women? Women, you are fighting women with tear gas. You went with over 700 security agencies to a small village. Why? Why do you need all that? You tear gas people, some people were hospitalized. The king of a place says, don't come to my place. And all the other kings around the place said, for the interest of peace, please don't come. and you force yourself with military might to go. If you're a Superman, why do you need military? Are you there on official duty that the army, the police, the navy, all of them will join you, DSS, all of them will join you to what kind of ceremony? Are you entitled to it, a minister? Are you entitled to church security, this thing, if you're not violent time? What are you looking for? You want people to crash with you? You want people to say, no, the community says, don't come, I must go. This is not what we need. In his tenure as a governor, it was terrible in this state. We ruled like an emperor. We ruled like, I think the owner of River State. Up to now that the governor is still having that attitude. Whereas Tim, who is the governor, who has all the political power, including amnesty, including immunity, is calm, very calm, and does not want any problem. Even if people go there to advise him, do this, he said, no, don't do that. I want peace in my state. So I think that peaceful approach Tim is having is what is keeping the peace of the state. And we're encouraging to continue in that direction. And I also advise FCDC Minister Yosom Wike to also come down. We come to this world with nothing, and we shall go with nothing. Let us maintain peace, respect one another, and live our life so that when our time comes, we go peacefully.
You know, some would say, in fact, there's a healthy consensus that this is more, you know, a political matter than the constitutional challenge that it now presents. And amid the, you know, political concern is also the ethnic coloration. And, you know, the FCT minister's media chat from last week did very little to help matters. But over the weekend, he seems to have backpedaled when he described the Ijaw people as a good people. However, he used derogatory words on the governor, ruling out reconciliation with him. I'd like you to speak to that. And while you're doing that, I'd like you to also speak to him calling you out to say that the Rivers Elders Forum had taken this case to court, and that you are the same person that has now returned to the president in search of peace. How does this affect what we hope to be the peaceful outcome of this entire matter?
Well, I want to make it clear that Sarah Igbe is an entity, is a different human being from River State Elders Forum, and also different from PANDEF. PANDEF, as a regional body, never involved in going to court. Likewise, the River State Elders Forum did not go to court. But some elders, some of us felt that the so-called agreement they had was lopsided, and we saw danger ahead of time that will affect the state, like today as it is today. And so we asked Mr. President that these directives you gave, they are unconstitutional directives, so we would not accept it. And we also advised him not to implement those directives. For instance, you asked them to withdraw their cases from court. Wike, the minister, refused to withdraw his case and boasted that he would not withdraw his case. Whereas Sim obeyed Mr. President, I withdraw the case. Mr. President says, re-engage those commissioners who resigned. Sim accepted, re-engage the commissioners that resigned. He said, okay, accept the assembly members back to the House. He also accepted. He said all the terms and conditions given to, he said, pay them the allowances and salaries. He paid all of them. But at the end of the day, Wike and his team and assembly members refused to withdraw their case, to pursue their case, and Sim did not have defense because he has withdrawn from the case. Today, what is the judgment? The judgment was that he did not have defense, and so whatever they had asked for was right. Whether it's correct or not correct, because there was no defense. That was because he implemented those advice that we asked him not to implement. But that is not the problem. We are past that stage. We shame, since ever the Supreme Court gave judgment, he said he will implement it. And we had advised him also to go ahead to implement the Supreme Court judgment because Nigeria is operating the rule of law. And the issue of our going to Mr. President, I am a foundation member of Pandem, and I'm as a member of board of trustees. If Pandem wants to go somewhere and they feel I should come to join them, that would be able to show the flag of peace. We went there, we spoke with Mr. President, and Mr. President was fed with lies. And so he believed that SIM did not implement those decisions, but SIM did. And because SIM was not close to out, there was nobody to beat the drum of SIM, and somebody else was going to be telling lies, lies, lies. Mr. President felt the way he think that SIM was not following him. Maybe there are other things that we have not known. Maybe they wanted SIM to abandon PDP and also cross carpet, as the assembly people did. That may be the reason. Otherwise, I see no reason why Mr. President can give a backing to a minister to the extent of giving him soldiers, police, DSS, Air Force, Navy for a personal visit. It is unprecedented.
Chief Sarigbe, my apologies. Are you saying, or do you feel that the president is not being fair to the governor?
Of course, because what we are seeing here, president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And if armed forces at that caliber, using trucks, tanks, airplane, gun boats, for a visit of a minister to intimidate people, to tell people that, look, I have power, then what are you going to say? Mr. President has advised Pandem, go and talk to SIM to implement the Supreme Court judgment. Before we came, SIM has already publicly said he will implement the Supreme Court judgment. And we spoke to him, and he also said he was going to implement the Supreme Court judgment to the letter. But we are all witness. Nigerians are all witness. He wrote to them through the SNG, which is the normal procedure. The central government normally writes to communicate the official position of government to anybody. They rejected it. He wrote to them, he called them, went to the assembly to present the budget that they're looking for. Then they locked him up. They refused. That's a disrespect to the state. But even at that, we still advise them, Mr. Governor, please be calm. Take it easy and let there be peace. We are talking of that peace. They said, oh, they have adjoined Sindai. Somebody who has adjoined Sindai is coming back to say he's serving notice of impeachment. Of course, that notice of impeachment is not yet before the government. The government has not seen it. But let Nigerians look at it. Is it right? You give him ultimatum, a governor, because the Supreme Court gave you a judgment, because you did not defend the judgment in your case, and so you gave ultimatum, you are harassing the commissioner.
Looking at that word, or that expression, looking at the expression sine die, Chief, if I could just come in here, it just basically means with no appointed date of resumption. So it doesn't say that will come at this time or not come at this time. They can come any time. But, you know, talking about the State Assembly, because that is what has now precipitated a new angle to this one. The allegations of gross misconduct leveled against the governor and his deputy. And I want to also try and look at this without sentiment and try and see how far this will go. The first one is reckless and unconstitutional expenditure of public funds contrary to sections of the Constitution. And there's a breakdown of that without a budget and all of that. The second one is hindering or obstructing the Rivers Assembly from performing her constitutional duties. Also refers to the statement from the Supreme Court about the demolition of the Assembly complex on Moscow Road. The third allegation of gross misconduct is the appointment of persons to occupy offices without allowing the requirement of screening and confirmation. So these allegations are quite weighty. In the eye of a law now, what do you have to say to them? Because the State Assembly is going ahead, clearly.
Well, I laugh at it because the High Court of Rivers State gave him permission to go ahead. That case was appealed up to Supreme Court. And at the time they were appealing this case, already Mr. President had asked him to withdraw his case. So he has put down his gun. He was no longer fighting. Having secured a court judgment, that court judgment was still there until the Supreme Court vacated it. All right, so to say. But there are still other cases that were pending, and the other High Court also gave a ruling to say, don't deal with this. These are all court judgment, conflicting court judgment of here. But the Supreme Court, which is the final court in the country, the highest court in the country, has given a verdict that from the day the verdict was given is the day we look at. Because the previous days, there were subsisting judgments, which they refused to obey, but it was obeyed. And the Supreme Court has given a judgment, and it wants to obey those judgments, and you're preventing them from obeying those judgments. If you are having the interest of the state at heart, and you now come to say Supreme Court has now turned the other judgment, what you would need to do is to say, okay, that's the way forward. He has invited them for a meeting for them to sit down and discuss the way forward. They refuse to come, they refuse to attend the meeting. He wants to present budget, they also refuse him to present the budget. So which way will he go and implement the Supreme Court judgment? Will he just go on air and say he's presenting budget? Is that what the Supreme Court says? Oh, you are doing this, you are giving them ultimatum, you want to do this, you want to impeach him. But let me tell you the secret. Before this time, Nyesom Wike said, boasted, that if he wants to keep an inquiry man as a governor, he would do that. And nothing will happen. And all the card they are playing is to bring an inquiry man to become governor of Rivers State. They want to impeach the governor, they want to impeach the deputy governor, so that the speaker, who is an inquiry man, cannot become governor, stay there and contest election as a governor. And he expects Rivers State to be peaceful. It will not be possible. But we are still saying, look, we need peace in this state. Sim said, look, nothing is too big for peace. Right. So he is still maintaining that. And the Rivers people are not happy that he's going that way. But that is his nature. He cannot change his nature. Okay. And we are saying, look, don't do something that will trigger more crisis in the state. Because if you do something that will trigger more crisis, it will not go well. The battle fight we are having here is not between inquiry and a job. It's not between Oguni and inquiry. It's not between Opa and inquiry. It's not between a chief and inquiry. The nature of the man in question is what is there. For a man who has insulted Edu Clark, his grandfather, who was supposed to be his grandfather, when Edu Clark became a commissioner of a federal commissioner, he was not born. Spiff became a governor before he was born. You insulted Spiff. Spiff is one of the highest, most respected citizens in Rivers State. His handwork over years is still there for us to see. You insulted him. You insulted former Governor Adajot. You insulted Odili, whom you called your father. You insulted Mary. You said it's your mother. Without her, you'll be nobody. You have insulted Jonathan and his wife. And you think people are happy. But for all that, we are saying in the interest of peace, let us forget the past. So if you are so ambitious, and because you want to prove that you are minister or you are this, and Mr. President is keeping quiet, a minister of the federal government of Nigeria is disrespecting the law, is disrespecting people, disrespecting his region, his state. And Mr. President is just watching. No problem. All right, Chief. Because I know, I know that that king that flogged the first wife will also flog the second wife. If he can make Jonathan to lose the election, he can also make Tinubu to lose the election, if it's not right.
All right, Chief Sarigbe, there's a lot that has to be said as far as the issue of Rivers State is concerned. But at the end of the day, everybody wants peace, as you've clearly alluded. We're hoping that all the gladiators, political and traditional, and elders will be able to have a roundtable to find a way forward. Chief Anab Sarigbe is an elder statesman who's joining us from Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. We'll switch gears away from politics to other things that has to do with the creative arts. Join us again in just a moment.